The world is so saturated with content, low brain power, mindless, immaterial videos that you forget after clicking them. It's enough to make you wanna. What's the stage of grief where everything reminds you of them? There's nothing splendorous about the Marine Parkway Bridge. It serves as a purgatory between Brooklyn and the Rockaways. There's nothing original about committing suicide by jumping off a bridge. Jeff Harding leapt from the middle of the walkway of that bridge at 4:32 a.m. on a Sunday night in May. This is New York City, if you can believe it. Sure, there's no skyscrapers like in Sex and the City. There's no hipsters from High Maintenance. But that's not the New York I care about. To be honest, that's not even the New York I recognize. The New York I know is South Brooklyn. Awnings with Chinese and Hebrew lettering, pizza dough pounded by Mexican immigrants, elevated train lines that sway and bend as a train approaches, the pillars that feel like they might crumble at any minute and the whole platform will collapse under you. That New York. The place I work is a caricature of the New York I recognize. In a way, Jeff also began to inhabit a world he no longer recognized. Jeff Harding and I both worked for an advertising firm in downtown Brooklyn. I was essentially a continuity editor, coming in early to hunch over the editing desk, make sure there were no mistakes before the final video went out. Before I left the house, I would straighten my tie and check my mirror every once in a while to make sure that my hair was groomed and my facial hair was subdued. Jeff walked in whenever he wanted to. He wore a brown leather jacket with the accumulated filth of years, and his breath stank. He complained that the trains at Flatbush were no good, but our team stopped caring about his excuses. Sometimes I would see a piece of food stuck in his tangled beard. He was our creative director. So how does someone like Jeff, with no connections, end up as creative director at this company? "It's gonna start like this," he told me in the office one day, muddy boots resting on my desk. "Black and white, guy eating cereal at his breakfast table. The camera pans across all the cereal boxes on his shelf, and the audience sees that the boxes are blank. No labels, nothing. After that, it cuts to his face, and boom, suddenly he has no face." His quirky advertisements and successful narrative shorts made him a common name in the industry. His prestige exploded with the force of a supernova and faded just as quickly with the rise of algorithms that promote low-effort content over art. I'm not here to be pretentious, that's just how it is. Jeff kept trying to regain that spark, but the world had been engineered against him. On top of that, he placed art over commercialism every time, and we would argue constantly to keep him from fucking the company over. There's no money in being a rebel. I understand that Jeff had an atypical start. He did his art first, which blew up, and that made him money. Most other people have to sell out first before making the art they want. In that sense, Jeff got lucky. I saw his point, but my coworkers and I had bills. I should have realized then. No one whose life is going well is drinking under a bridge. I'm not interested in why Jeff Harding killed himself, because I already know why. I want to know what he felt in those last few minutes. It feels like I'm forcing the glacial Rockaway Inlet down my throat. You shouldn't even die from that distance. The medics said when they recovered Jeff's body, his lungs were filled with water, meaning he died from suffocation rather than impact. Jeff must have felt like the biggest fuck-up on the planet that night, and he couldn't even kill himself right. "Do you fear your mortality?" "Me, I do. It's a good thing, though." "What do you mean?" I asked. "Well, think about it. When your life sucks, then death doesn't seem that bad, you know? But if you're happy, you have a greater potential for a fear of death. That's why I like to basically ask myself every once in a while, am I afraid of dying right now? And when I say no, that's when I know that things have gone south. Soon, I will be Jeff Harding. 4 hours ago, this cable was property of Coney Island. At around midnight, I climbed over a fence, broke open the rusty lock of a storage shed with a hammer, stole the cord, and stuffed it in my backpack. It's generic quality, but it should hold. The drop is only 55 feet at its peak. Jeff was much more rude and snippy in those later months than when I first met him, and it was hard to tell if that was circumstance or simply his mental health revealing what had been there all along. The worst part of knowing someone deeply is you start to rationalize their behavior. I am Jeff Harding, I think to myself. I moved back with my parents at 36 because I can't pay rent. I was a celebrity. Now I make unsuccessful films that my company doesn't understand, and it's a miracle that they haven't fired me yet. I suck at film. I suck at life. My art's got no application anywhere. No, that's not it. The company only cares about commercial value. They only want to deal with the stuff people can buy, and now that's low-effort bullshit that gets views. And they want me to accept that this is the way it is. That phrase makes me sick. If I have to sacrifice my art to glorify a commercial and inattentive world, well, I'd rather die. That's not it either. I know what it is. Even at Jeff's peak, he was still unhappy at his core. I let go. The dark sky somersaults by me, but I'm not afraid because I am Jeff Harding. I'm falling for long enough to realize that I'm flapping my arms for some stupid reason, like I think I can fly. Translucent dots converge toward the center of my vision, like a puckering constellation. Suddenly, both of my legs are torn off of my body, and I let out a scream. I bounce back a few times. My yell is silenced by the waves. I feel burning tongs stretching my leg muscles, and suddenly, I'm no longer Jeff Harding but myself, in pain and terribly afraid of death. Upside down, I reach into my pocket and pull out my knife, trying to ignore my nausea. I swing my torso forward and my hand catches the edge of my belt. From here, I pull up until my knife arm is level with my legs. I cut the cord and fall the remaining 15 feet into the water, landing on my back with a huge splash. I don't think. I just stroke, ignoring my scalded legs. I row myself almost 100 yards to the Brooklyn shore. The tide pityingly pushes me forward. I'm not Jeff Harding. I look out into the dawn and see a star. Or maybe it's a planet, but it's a bright thing, just one bright thing in the sky. My body stays in the sand. I watch it shine. I'm lying there long enough to see the sky lift its dark veil and hatch soft contours, but the star I'm looking at doesn't move. I'm reborn.